They say one man came from far away, but the bullet paths don't line that way. They say brown tips flew where none were sold, and two frames blurred in footage cold. A mother falls where no patsy turned, yet no one asks, no justice burned. Who pulled the trigger? Who knew the shot? Her body lie in the parking lot. Who shot Nadia Eugenia? Tell me who took that breath away. Not a soul has faced the question, not a judge, not a DA. Truth is buried in the footage, redacted lines and broken proof. But blood still cries from the parking lot, and justice has no truth.
I was the hunted, and now I'm the hunter. It's a big difference. Big difference.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so let's see if I turn this off and turn this way down. We can go through this a little bit. Okay, so let's get started. It's 11:44 p.m. Hey, that's a little bit early for us. I'm trying to get at 10 o'clock, y'all. I really am. 10 o'clock, but it's 11:44 p.m. on August 24th, 2026, and we are very grateful that you're coming on so late and watching this live stream and sharing it. We've had a lot of shares. We're growing, and that means we have a bigger reach to get out the truth about what happened to our son. I'm Patricia Halliday. My son is the Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier, Richard Halliday. He's a total hero. And in July of 2020, he was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss. And you have to remember this was during COVID madness. And he was taken downstairs to the arms room, which is a restricted room. But the prime suspect, Dallas Hart, Richard's platoon leader, absolutely had access to that room. And our son's life was taken there. His life was taken, and he was then stolen, his remains stolen off base, because it was just days after they found Vanessa Guillen's body right by the Leon River, and they couldn't have, this is what the general said, they didn't want another Guillen situation. They stole his body off of Fort Bliss, and they trafficked it to Mexico for disposal at a place the evidence indicates called Plenitude Crematorium. Where they found over 400 bodies, rat infested, rotting their conditions. And that was all under, no air conditioning, no potable water, no cleaning up the bodies or anything. They were just thrown in there like garbage. It was total sacrilege. Okay. And I can't stress this enough. The sin of sacrilege, how they treat the bodies, and families that even paid for the care of their loved one to be cremated with dignity, were fooled, right? Fraud was committed against them in the worst way. And of course, they were given plastic urns full of construction material. Maybe it wasn't a plastic urn, maybe they got a nicer urn, but it wasn't full of their loved ones' remains. They were full of fake ashes. And so, and the ownership are dug in El Paso, are dug in right there with El Paso Matters, right? With Argo Oil and Gas, the Rafael Arellano Caron family, Jose Luis Arellano Caron, Rosa Maria Purchase Arellano Caron Ramirez. They have lots of names, lots of aliases and everything, and they're absolutely connected to the group of Purchase, which is a huge, huge funeral fraudster operation that goes, on both sides of the border. And so, there still hasn't, well, they arrested one of them with another person that died in captivity, believe it or not. They didn't want him to be a witness, I guess, or maybe he had a heart attack. I don't know. And then they bribed a judge to let Jose Luis go. And of course, he went right over to El Paso. We did get a report that he was there, that he was cited. I don't know where he is right now. I know that they, for months now, they said that they were looking into a red Interpol notice to really thwart any kind of business or money exchange that he could do. This would really help. They haven't done it yet. They haven't done it yet. And of course, Maru Campos' mother was in on this whole Plenitude crematorium. She was the Cook Spears, the authority that was supposed to be looking over this, making sure that bodies were handled with dignity, and she let them operate like demons. And this is why this is so important, because these bodies were not handled with dignity, with careful cleanliness, or with the respect that God's body should be respected with. And that's their problem. They don't believe that the human body is made in the image of God. And this is a huge cultural problem that we have that brings us to a very, very low place, a very low place. And where murderers are, for some reason, they're given the victim status, and the victims are, retaliated against, smeared, treated very badly. And I just really wanted to point that out, how bad sacrilege is and what that brings us to, like we're just like orcs or something, like in Lord of the Rings, the orcs, with no dignity at all. And it's a very bad road to go down. And it is really the way of the occult and the witches. And in Richard's case, we have several self-proclaimed witches. The occult has always been clearly used by the perpetrators, by the cover-up agents and things like that. But now the evidence is coming in more and more. The evidence is coming in. So we just wanted to let everyone know that. Because that's this case, of course, the fuel theft, that has been huge transparency in the last months. And now it's going to descend into, of course, all of that is part of it. But the occult and the mind control and all of that in this case, how they could do the organ harvesting, the child trafficking, and just terrible things. And I'm not, I'm not going to focus on that like deep dive because I want to focus on that the evidence is coming out so that we can end it, you know, that we can absolutely do something against it. Can we end it? I don't know if we could end it. I spoke too soon there. Can we end it? But President Trump is focused on it. Just like with the fuel theft, I think today was huge. It was D-Day for the fuel thieves, and that was funding the criminal trafficking. But this whole culture of disrespecting the body, sacrilege, treating it as trash, and all of the mind control and what they were trying to do to people um, in the retaliation, in the control, in the grooming of that, so that certain individuals could just get rich off of the theft and the crimes, the cartel terroristic crimes. The terroristic organization is physical, but it's also spiritual, and it's a really a very very bad spirit. So that that is like just a preview of what the evidence is coming in and what we're looking at, and um, of course how you have to have some kind of demonic force for people to be willing to just for an election, to win an election, to win power so that they could steal fuel and traffic children and drugs and all, and weapons and all that, that they would orchestrate a Walmart mass shooting. Okay. And the Walmart mass shooting, I've put out a lot of information. We know so much about the Walmart mass shooting. Do we know all of it? Well, we know the important parts. Let's just say that the Mayela Crucius family connection, and that it was orchestrated, that the crime scene was staged, that it was used to form a false white supremacist narrative in order to attack President Trump, to sabotage his reelection in 2020. Um, we also know that there is evidence that indicates that Richard knew about the conspiracy to do it, the planning to do it, the orchestration of it before even a bullet was shot, and that he reported on that. So that is, really developing information and important for everyone to know why Richard, why his life was taken. Because the military, we know that the military was absolutely involved in the orchestrated Walmart mass shooting. We know that there are shooters that are at large, that we don't have all the shooters, that there were multiple shooters. And we know that Patrick Crucius it was like a puppet, uh, and by his own will, he's absolutely guilty. You know, we're not saying that he's innocent at all, but that he is a special needs individual, and that he was groomed and puppeted or puppeteered or whatever around, and used it as the shooter in the Walmart mass shooting. So this video that I just played for you, and I didn't, is, it's just one of those things that you learn about that's always on your mind. There's so many things about this case, and all of the different avenues that you can go down, the tentacles that you can go down and follow, that you just remember things and you just run them through your head over and over again. And this is one of those. This is the one of the victims of the Walmart mass shooting. It was absolutely a professional job and a close range shot to the head. How do we know that? Because we have the evidence for that. Um, it was an immediate death. Okay. It was immediate death and close range. That's really important for people to know. And she was killed in the parking lot. And the DPS, which we know are absolutely compromised, and I'm sorry to say that, especially Company E, but they are absolutely compromised, y'all. They're so compromised, and they're um, part of the cartel, part of the fuel theft, and part of the um, well, the cover up for it, right? The cover up for it, the protection for it, the protection for the cartel terror operations with trafficking and everything. And so we know that we've been investigating all of that. Day in and day out with everything else. And so we can confidently on a live stream to the public tell you that the DPS, which is the Department of Public Safety, is there in Texas, the Texas Rangers, the highway trooper, um, came after us even, right? And our son. So we absolutely know that they are corrupt. And, maybe since President Trump got in, they're trying to clean up things a little bit. I don't know. But the last time that we, because we've been very involved with all of that, documenting that and filing it and all that. We decided they needed to be disbanded. Okay, it was just that bad. It was just that bad, especially with Julio Cordero's killing. It's just that bad. Okay, the investigation for the Walmart mass shooting, Julio Cordero, our son's case, many others. Um, so, this video was released by the DPS, which is interesting, right? Because they're absolutely trying to cover up for what really happened on August 3rd, 2019, the Walmart mass shooting, and also in our son's case. And this video is another proof of that, right? I mean, there's so much proof of it, but this video is a proof of it. And you can see Patrick Crusius. This is supposed to be Patrick Crusius, but his arms are kind of big. His gait is much different, much more confident, mature. Patrick Crusius, as I said, he is a special needs individual, severely mentally, has severe mental health conditions. Um, and so this here, which was released, is not really that clear. Um, but this is supposed to be Patrick Crusius when Maria Eugenia Lagarette wrote was killed. And like I told you, what we know for sure is that she was shot at close range and it was professional. Okay. Um, yeah. So that's why let's play this without the music. And I've just played that over and over. Um, he comes walking down here. She's already laying here, or yeah, she's already, this is the area um right here. Okay. He comes walking here And you can see here, it's just totally different. The cars, see the cars here? Um, lo- it's just not right. Nothing is right. This is supposed to be the entrance where he's coming in, but he's walking over here. This entrance here is a different lane in the parking lot. Okay. It's over by the west side entrance, right? Um, or would you call it the north side entrance? I would call it the west side entrance, the west entrance. Um, the right hand side if you're looking towards the building. And this is lanes over, okay? And why is he walking there? And then he's not even pointing the gun at her. And then he turns around and he never comes close enough. It's just, there's no way that this was when she was shot. That's the point that I want to make. And the timeline can't handle anything else. It can't handle him going and shooting because this right here, right across the street, is another 3 people that were shot. Um, so it can't handle. Look how he makes that turn and walks away. It can't handle the timing of everything, can't handle any kind of deviation. It has to be like right on schedule, right? For the timestamps to work. And so, look at it yourself. This is one of the pictures that we have when she's down. Um, and this was the video, and of course they blocked that out. But it doesn't make sense. The this doesn't make sense. The entrance that he goes into at 10:48 or whatever, uh, and it's supposed to be, through that front entrance, to Alexander Gerhard Hofmann, was also a professional hit close range. So somebody wanted Alexander Hofmann, the German national, and Maria Eugenia Lagerette-Roth, who had, her husband died just months later after this, um, was also shot in Juarez. And I posted about that too. Wanted her not alive anymore. Okay. These were professional hits. And then when you walk into the Walmart and watch that video, nothing makes sense either because, we're told 23 dead and 22 injured, and yet that's not what you see in the videos that were released. So, I just wanted to point that out because I really would love to have justice for this woman, right? I really, she, yeah. So I wanted to do that. Okay, so let's. Every day I thought I wanted to show one of the videos that we've been working on. And I'm doing all this, but, I don't really prepare for these live streams, right? I just go on and do it by heart. And I really was thinking about her because the level of evil um, that it took to take her life, it's the same. And it's the same group that took Richard's life. So, yeah, and to try to cash in on it and everything like that. It's the same playbook. And that's why these are so important. And, they don't ever come out, the media doesn't come out with these things. And they definitely don't come out with the Mayela Crucius family connection to El Paso, do they? They never come out with that the Mayella family was in the Walmart cybersecurity, that they were in the DA's office, that they were in the federal courthouse, that they were in the FBI field office, they and still in the FBI field office. They don't say that the Mayella Crucius family connection to the Walmart mass shooter was established in the institutions and the agencies that would be very important to this whole case. They don't come out and say that, and it's really, really big news. So I hope you share it. I hope you share it. So, okay, so I wanted to talk about, oh, sorry. I wanted to talk about the affair, and I posted this up quite a bit ago, um, months ago, that we received very credible evidence that the El Chapo fentanyl governor, Mauro Campos, um, was having an affair with a married federal judge, Zamora. Uh, well, his name is Juan Carlos Zamora. And, this is really breaking news, and it's very relevant right now because she is being investigated for treason. And she is playing the victim. She's attacking President Scheinbaum. And her list of all of her crimes just grows every day. It just grows and grows. And this is one of them because in Mexico, and I don't know if they even charge people for it. It would be wonderful if they did because it's just treason against the family. And I'm talking about adultery. Um, because a lot of these sex cults and things that are in our son's case, they use it to get to officials, right? They use it, like in DPS, the director Jose Sanchez. He was caught. He was caught in that kind of situation, and yeah. So, and here, Maru Campos is being caught, and it's against the law, and Mexico. Good for Mexico to protect the family, right? To protect the family, and to honor God's law. It is against the law to commit adultery. And this is what's going on here. And so, she doesn't have any respect for the Mexican sovereignty. She has no respect for Mexican families, Mexican law, Mexican privacy. Um, and you can tell by all of her actions by signing the treasonous treaty with Governor Abbott, letting Aros go, the CER Aros. That was one of the next things on here that I'll talk about. Right after she became the governor, they let him go. And he went into the United States. I think the last time he was located was in California. Um, so she is, of course, working with Alejandro de la Vega Foster, who is a fuel thief and also a double agent, and an El Paso cartel operative. Um, Working with the CJNG. We know that. And with General Kelly, getting him to be um, a security advisor for Mauro Campos's administration, which is so illegal. And then, of course, allowing foreign agents to operate in her fiscalia, carrying those fully automatic M4 rifles just around, which is illegal in Mexico again, and conducting rogue operations within Mexico without approval from the Mexican federal government. So that's why she is being investigated for treason. And of course, you have the Torah Centella, you have the Plenitude Crematorium, which her mother was over, which was total sacrilege. And I can go on and on about the secret payroll and about the embezzlement. And she's just a criminal all the way around. And of course, with Cesar Peniche, he was the AG, and is being investigated for his group of Carvel uh, gas stations that also was involved in the Pemex fuel thief, right? The Watchicle. So, yeah, I think this is really important news coming out right now because, and I'll explain this, Zamora's father worked for Maru Campos and might still work for Maru Campos with security, with intelligence, with border and security and intelligence. And he is involved with Morena uh, senator. So Zamora's father is buddies with, let's see if I can find that picture here. There's so much. With Senator Monreal. Monreal, I hope I say it right. He's compromised. He has a conflict of interest because of this is Zamora's father right here, who works for Maru Campos for security and intelligence and all that. And they have a conflict of interest um, between the two. So even though one is Pan Party and one is Morena, the senator is on the council or group that decides if they're going to prosecute Maru Campos for treason or investigate her, move it forward for treason. And he's blocking it. Okay. So this is obstruction in our son's case. Really, that's why we care about this. That's why this is personal to us. And, uh, so this shows you the closed loop that the senator, even though he's from the opposing party, it's kind of like a rhino in the United States. He's a rhino. He's a Morena in name only, right? So he's a Mino. He's a Mino, and he's protecting the Maru Campos from being investigated further for treason because he's in conflict of interest with Zamora's father. So, so they're all together in this. And I hope I explained that well enough without reading the notes. The notes and the articles are so much better. So, let's go back and okay, so this is the post that's been picked up and shared, and it's huge. So Besant is sick and tired of all these games, so he's hitting them where it hurts most, and that's the pocketbook. And you think it's just for Iran, but this is very connected to the El Paso Juarez corridor and the fuel theft, and also all the trafficking, the child trafficking, the human trafficking, the drugs, the weapon trafficking, all the methods, all the everything. If it's not bolted down, if it's, they're all, um, it's just gotten so bad there, right? And so President Trump has to hit very, very hard, and he's hitting them where it counts, and that's financially. And the person to do that, just call him General. Just call him General Besant. He should be in the Pentagon, but he's not. He's Finson. He's the finance secretary, and he can hit them where it really hurts. And so he's calling a D-Day. And so the sanctions and tariffs and all of that are very, very effective. And because Iran was selling their oil on the black market to avoid the sanctions, but they were flooding it to keep the prices um, really high, right? Keep the way that, because they were selling it on the black market for other people to buy it to um do this watchical fiscal and manipulate the market so that the price of um oil and gasoline at the pump stays high. And the reason why they did that is because then the fuel thieves can make more profit, right? And so this is what they've been fighting is to unleash energy dominance for the United States and stop all the fuel thieves, and then take the premium basin oil and make it legitimate with legitimate prices. And of course, you had the Secretary of Energy there just the other day, less than a week ago, saying that they are going to pull that oil out of the ground for cheap. It's very cheap, y'all. It's very, very cheap. And then they can sell it legally on the market without having to go through cartel terror thieves that want to make big profits and become a billionaire so that they can go on Forbes and say, "Oh, look at my illicit my illicit money. I'm a real thief." No, they didn't do that, but they go on there and say, "See how good I am," and you're like, "Wow, wow, how brazen." Um, and they're fuel thieves, right? They're fuel thieves and also funders of politicians that are up to no good and funders of all of this trafficking. So what he's doing is just huge. He's channeling General Patton, the toughness of General Patton. That's why I say, just call Besant General, because what he's doing is just, you know, financially destroying them. And that absolutely comes into the Gulf of America, of course. That's why President Trump renamed it the Gulf of America, because of certain jurisdictional laws that it needed to be that way. And of course, you know, rightfully so. I think it's the right name for it. And yeah, and to destroy this whole cartel, Mormon mafia, fuel theft, trafficking, criminal culture that uses occult, right? That uses the occult to control people and drugs to control people and get them to do the most horrible things to babies um, and to get people to support the criminals, right, instead of the victims. And I think that is where this whole mind control and everything comes in. So let's look at the other. This is also huge breaking news right now that the Trump administration is preparing for the largest uh, revocation. I hope I say that right. They're going to revoke a bunch of visas, B1, B2 visas, Um, and I'm just that's a recent picture of Salvador Purchase Jr. And I'm thinking that I just want to ask, is that how he got into the country on a visa, a tourist visa or a business visa, to do the criminal terror crimes that he has done with the funeral fraud, and with the sacrilege of the human body, right? And more. Of course, I believe working together with the fuel thieves and the traffickers and those with the occult, and more evidence is going to come out for that. So please stay tuned. But if President Trump does this, this is going to be huge, huge. And I also think that there's a chance that it will affect Mario Raskin Ortiz, the fake medical examiner. And I wrote about him too because he's really up to no good and also connected. I even think he's a family member, maybe a cousin or whatever to uh, Salvador Purchase Jr. So this was a very evil operation that they took advantage of people in their sorrow and offered them dignity and gave them sacrilege, really. Rat infested, rotting bodies. Just, really, it's just terrible. So, yeah, and then I put this out instead of putting, because that Maru Campos with the bloody hands or the red hands, with her mother, which is absolutely, they have blood on their hands. It's just so gross to me. And, you want to stay in the good and the light and and in God's word and stay positive, right? Focus on what is good in life, what is noble, what is true, what is praiseworthy. And, so researching all of this, you just have to um, take a break from these evil people and post something good, even though you're talking about the occult. I just didn't want to put an occult symbol up or anything like that. I decided to put up a verse in Ephesians 6:10 through 12. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God so that you may be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. So, and that really goes to um, uh, the DEA, here that I need to get close to, Terry Cole. Terry Cole, the DEA secretary. Um, he has come out and said they are looking at high level of officials. They're looking at those in high places that are you know, bringing so much trouble. Like he needs to look at Sam Madrano. He needs to look at, uh, of course, Mario Raskin Ortiz, the medical examiner, but he needs to look at, of course, Maru Campos. And that's what he's signaling here is Maru Campos and the like, these officials that are um, partnering and have partnered with CJ&G, which brings to mind, of course, Alejandro de la Vega Foster, the El Paso cartel operative and double agent in in government positions when she was in government positions, both in Texas and in Chihuahua simultaneously, which is so illegal, right? So that's why I put her little picture right there. Um, Yes, thank you so much, Casey, for those I'll be reading those verses, and that's exactly what I meant. So, yeah, let's see if I have more. Oh yeah, this is really good too. I should have left it on. So let's look at this. This is Harfu. He is, of course, the national security secretary or minister in Mexico, right here, and he was questioned about Mexican sovereignty and having foreign agents and forces work in Mexico. And he says, no, they're not allowed. But, there was one place in Mexico that was allowing it, and we can't have it. So he absolutely, they are investigating. They're very, well, he signaled that she's in big trouble. Mario Campos, who allowed foreign agents to work in Chihuahua in rogue operations carrying their fully automatic M4s, and 2 CIA agents were killed recently. So yeah, he really signaled that that's a no-no, and that it is and of course President Scheinbaum called it treason. So it is treason, and that's what Mauro Campos is being investigated for. So that's huge news too, going forward. So that is, make sure that I covered all of that. Um, and of course, President Trump is saying that Iran is completely collapsing. And you saw what Besant did. And President Trump is absolutely pushing that when you can, uh, uh, the power to tax is the power to destroy. The FinCEN to um, freeze assets and bank accounts and all that is equally destructive. So this is the war that he's fighting to preserve the Iranian people. And um, you know, when Rob was going to school for perfusion, my husband was a perfusionist for many years, and right there at Walter Reed, the old Walter Reed Hospital in Washington, D.C., our neighbor was Iranian, okay? And they're lovely people. They're very lovely people. And President Trump knows that because he's a builder all around the world. And so the way he had very deliberate targets, they weren't, these carpet bombs or whatever that was happening previously. He very deliberate, very military, so that the Iranian people can have their country back. And so his targeting is the thieves, and those that have a grip and a stranglehold on Iran and the people of Iran. So eh, to say Iran is completely collapsing, he's meaning those in the high places that were colluding and conspiring with, the likes of a cartel terroristic organization. That's who he's talking about, clearly. So, and then of course, General Besant made that very clear during his announcement today. So that's really, uh, and this is the whole operation, the whole network that targeted Richard. That targeted our military, that targeted his unit. Well, his unit was compromised, right? His unit was a prime suspect is the platoon leader. But they had to get there somehow, right? And they target to infiltrate, and they infiltrated, and he reported what they were doing, and they absolutely came after him and took his life. So this is that group behind this, because to take a soldier's life as a code red to to retaliate against him before that, to smear his name so that when they killed him, nobody would, I mean, this was an operation. This was all premeditated. And then to take his body, they had to organize all of that. And then the whole cover up of it, like the Nadal Baim mess up, right? All that cover up, they had to have these 15 agencies on board, um, all colluding together against Richard and obstructing his case, and against us, our family. And so people would say, "How could this be?" But this is what we've been working on for 6 years, is telling people how it could be, and we have the evidence now, and this is how it was. And it's not doesn't make us happy, but this is how what it took to for a stellar soldier to be retaliated against and killed, and then the whole cover up. It took a lot. It took a lot and a lot of money. So, yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there to get his remains. That is our goal, and a lot has happened um, to give us a lot of hope about the return of his remains. So, we really appreciate one of the big things that give us hope that makes it stronger is you sharing, so that our reach is goes really wide out there. We do not monetize at all, and so the sharing is absolutely just for Richard. And so thank you so much for coming on. Okay, I will be back tomorrow. Thank you for everything. I always have to say that over and over and over again because I am so grateful. So I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.